Welcome to the Explainer. Look, if you're a developer working with modern AI tools right now, you know exactly what it feels like to just sit there and stare at your terminal. You type in this beautifully complex prompt, you hit enter, and then you just wait. You wait for the AI to process, to do its little thinking routine, and to eventually spit out that block of code you need. It's a completely universal experience these days. But what if you could actually monetize those idle seconds? Well, let's dive right into this because today we're breaking down some fascinating source material that explores exactly that. We're looking at the reality of monetizing the AI waiting game and what might honestly be the newest, strangest microeconomy in the entire coding world. And this brings us straight to a really bold, almost gold rush style claim from our source. I made money while Claude Code was thinking. I mean, it sounds like the ultimate developer dream, right? Getting paid for your literal downtime. The pitch here is that instead of just staring at a blinking cursor or a spinning loading wheel, you're actively tapping into a brand new revenue stream. It completely reframes coding. It's not just your job anymore. Your workspace suddenly becomes this piece of digital real estate. Every time an AI model like Claude or Codex pauses to generate a response, there's this invisible window of opportunity to make passive income. Of course, whenever we hear about a new passive income stream or a side hustle that requires zero extra effort, the immediate question that pops into our heads is, well, exactly how much money are we talking about here? Is this actually a viable secondary income, or is it just a digital parlor trick? We really have to question the real-world return on investment. Because let's be honest, if you're going to purposefully clutter up your workspace, it absolutely needs to be worth the distraction. So how does this actually work under the hood, and what does the payout really look like? Okay, so let's look at the core mechanism behind this whole concept. Our source breaks down a tool that goes by a couple of names, Gigbucks AI or sometimes ClickBooks AI. Basically, it's an extension for VS Code. And the premise is incredibly straightforward. While your AI assistant is in its thinking phase, this extension just flashes advertisements right inside your coding environment. In exchange for leasing out your screen space during that wait time, the platform splits the ad revenue with you, right down the middle, 50-50. Now, to really grasp the dashboard data we're about to look at, we need to quickly ground the technical jargon. The main metric this system tracks is called an event. And to be clear, an event isn't a click, and it's definitely not a purchase. An event simply means getting an impression. It's literally just the act of an ad successfully loading and being visible on your screen while the AI is busy processing. The system's activity log meticulously tracks every single one of these, logging exactly which ad was served and precisely how many seconds it sat there on your screen. And you have to look at the sheer volume of these events. The source material highlights this massive jump in engagement over a mere 48 hours. On day 1, the creator logged 559 events, but by day 2, that number completely skyrocketed to 1,189 events. That is over 1,000 individual ad impressions flashing in a developer's workspace in a single day. When you see engagement climbing that fast, it naturally builds up this immense expectation for the earnings, right? You start doing the mental math on 1,000 impressions and wondering just how lucrative this extension could actually be. So how do you actually get this working? The installation process starts with VS Code, naturally. You search for and install the QuickBooks AI extension. But full disclosure, here is where things hit a bit of friction. Because this is an early launch, the tool is definitely a little buggy. It requires this slightly clunky workaround where you have to sign in, bounce out to a web interface to authorize the account, and then completely restart your browser and reload VS Code just to get the dashboard to sync up. After all that, you finally install the Anthropic Claude Code extension to act as the AI brain that will do all that thinking. Once you've got the whole shebang installed, you need the AI to actually work hard enough to trigger a noticeable delay. The source demonstrates this by feeding a really heavy request to the Claude Opus model. The exact query they used was, analyze this repository and tell us how we can improve our application. Now, that is not a simple syntax check. That's a deep, repository-wide analysis that purposely forces the AI into a prolonged, heavily bogged-down thinking phase. It essentially creates the perfect extended window for those ads to start rolling in. And this is the moment your workspace is completely transformed. You hit enter, the AI says thinking, and suddenly, banner ads start populating directly inside your coding environment. It takes a second or two for them to load, but once they do, your terminal is literally sharing real estate with rotating advertisements. You can click them, or you can completely ignore them. Either way, the system is quietly sitting there in the background, logging the exact time and duration of every single impression while you wait for your code review. All right, let's talk about the money, because the platform itself sets some incredibly high expectations right out of the gate. According to the interface explored in the source material, there are stated earning limits, and the maximum limit for a single hour,
$20. Just think about that for a second. $20 an hour just for letting ads flash while your AI writes your code. It builds this intense, almost unbelievable anticipation. You start thinking you could passively fund your daily coffee or maybe even your rent just by keeping your terminal busy. Oh, but it goes even further than that. The theoretical daily maximum earning ceiling mentioned in the dashboard is an astonishing $200. Yep, $200 a day. Passively, while you code. By highlighting these massive, sky-high limits, the extension creates this brilliant illusion of a highly lucrative side hustle. It honestly makes you wonder why every single developer on the planet isn't running this thing 24/7. But as we are about to see, these theoretical limits set up a pretty comedic contrast with reality. Boom, here is the reality check. After logging well over 1,000 ad events, the curtain drops to reveal the creator's actual daily earnings prior to refreshing the dashboard. 19 cents. Not $19, 19 cents. The contrast between a $200 daily limit and a literal 19-cent reality is just staggering. It's a pretty frank admission that the actual payout, the money they're actually putting in your pocket, is practically nothing. And honestly, this next part brilliantly illustrates the true grind of this microeconomy. The web interface gets reloaded in real time. The system fetches the new ad events that just played during that massive Claude repository analysis, and the total updates from 19 cents to 21 cents, a whole 2-cent bump. The harsh realization hits you right there. Earning even a single, solitary dollar in a day using this tool is incredibly difficult. It borders on impossible, even when you are generating hundreds and hundreds of ad impressions. Yet, despite earning literal pennies for over 1,000 ad impressions, the creator's takeaway from the source is surprisingly optimistic. Their exact thought was, something is better than nothing, right? There's this total acknowledgement that earning a dollar is way too hard, but the positive outlook remains because, hey, technically, it is free money. It's money generated during time that would have otherwise just been spent staring at a screen. It's a truly fascinating look into the psychology of microtransactions, where the sheer novelty of earning anything at all somehow outweighs the tiny actual value. Which leaves us with a really critical thought to end this explainer on. We've seen the clunky setups, the 1,000+ ad events, the promises of hundreds of dollars, and the reality of a 21-cent payout. And it challenges us to ask a bigger question. If our critical AI development tools eventually become ad-supported, what does that actually mean for our workspaces? Is monetizing your attention for fractions of a penny truly worth the visual clutter in an environment where deep focus is literally everything? Or is this just the very early, very strange beginning of how we are all going to pay for AI in the future? I'll leave you to think about that. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the tech you use every single day.